We finally made our way up to John o' Groats in the hope of finding some orca, and it looks like we've already made a little friend. Our first orca of the trip. We're hoping that he brings us a bit of luck. We love how John o' Groats always has an orca theme about it, with lots of signs, models and random fins dotted around. It really makes you feel like you have a great chance of sighting them. We headed up to Duncansby Head, but it wasn't long until we were greeted with standard Scottish weather. Standard weather at John o' Groats. We're at Duncansby Head. We're having a little walk to the stacks, hoping that something passes by.
It's a really nice little coastal walk along here. We like doing this little walk right along the edge of the cliffs.
Yeah,
you get lovely. Great views just below you. So if anything does pass by, it'd be really good.
It would. But as usual, we've had a few problems with the van along our journey.
Yeah. We've learned to not let it bother us now though, so we kind of just try and sort it, get on with it, and that's it.
Yeah.
So
instead of
I'm sure
crying,
something else will go wrong, but oh well, we're still here.
Exactly. That's the most important thing. Just about. We're just about intact. Yeah. But yeah, we're going to enjoy the walk instead, and yeah, make the most of that first. We took a walk along from the lighthouse, overlooking the stunning cliffs and sea stacks, which are home to thousands of nesting birds, including guillemots, razorbills, fulmars and even puffins, and one of our favourites, the oyster catcher.
So we haven't managed to see any orca yet at John o' Groats, but we only arrived yesterday, so we've still got high hopes. But we did manage to, however, see a pod, the 169's pod, off Fraserburgh on our way up to John o' Groats. They were accompanied by Orca and Trinky, which was amazing to see. They went just past the lighthouse. But yeah, hopefully either them or some different pods come and join us up at here. That'd be really good.
Took a walk from Duncansby Head Lighthouse down towards a gorgeous beach called the Bay of Sannock. We absolutely love this beach with its clear blue water and white sand. It always looks tropical and you wouldn't believe this was Scotland. decided to go for a drive to another orca hotspot, St John's Point. We're walking to St John's Point at the moment. The last time we were here was in 2019, so a few years ago, and we actually saw our first humpback whale off this point.
He was running across the hills trying to chase it. It was the first whale we'd ever seen as well.
Yeah.
So we didn't get much footage, we didn't have very good equipment back then, but it was really cool seeing it. The first time we saw it, it did a massive blow right to the side of us.
Yeah.
And then it sort of appeared further away in the distance.
Just so cool to see. And it was kind of like hovering in this current that's at the end that we'll show you. We've just made our way down to this little cove. Never been down here before, and just look at it. It's like we're abroad, and it's like a little sun trap as well. So sheltered from the wind, and it's just so gorgeous. We might be spending a bit of time down here. We've also spotted a couple of seals as well in like the crystal clear blue water. They're so cute. While staying around John o' Groats, we took advantage of the weather getting better and did a number of coastal walks back at Duncansby Head. Even with no orca around, it's great seeing the stunning views and the colonies of seabirds. We had a quick look up Duncansby Head, but the orca were really far out. We had pre-booked onto the afternoon ferry, so went with our original plan and thought we may have a chance of crossing paths with the orca en route. We're on the ferry.
Don't know if you're going to be able to hear us, it's quite windy.
Yeah, it is quite windy, it's quite choppy as well. So we're on a ferry over to Orkney. We're not getting off, but we're getting the ferry straight back. We're just hoping to see some orca.
At this time of year, John o' Groats ferries put on some like sort of special trips where you can just travel between the two, and it obviously increases your chances of seeing any orca passing through. So you never know. It's a bit wet though.
It is a bit wet. Fingers crossed.
So this is where we actually saw our first orca sighting back in 2019. It's literally just right over there. Stromer in the background was on this exact ferry. It was a 64s pod and we saw 4 orca. It was such a cool encounter. It was raining again then as well, but it was so amazing. And then we've been addicted to seeing orca ever since. So we've been on our first ferry,
We didn't see anything. It was very, very choppy as well.
Very cold.
Very cold. So we're going to warm ourselves up and we're going for a walk along the coast, see if we can see anything.
Yeah, there were some orca spotted off Shetland yesterday and today, and it's Buster's pod. And Buster's an orca we really want to see.
I really want to see him.
So we was hoping that he'd turn up while we were here, so it's not looking very likely at the moment, but
no.
Hopefully at some point over the next few months we see Buster.
We really hope we can.
So scrap that last video where we're going for a walk. Just as we started, there was a report there's 2 orca heading up from Wick. Yeah. Apparently they're heading north as well, so hopefully they do keep heading north, and I think we're going to go up to Duncansby to try and see if they come past there, so fingers crossed.
Yeah. We've seen them. We're so pleased we made it onto the ferry.
And we saw 2 bulls really close to the ferry.
Yeah.
So it's so amazing.
Oh, so pleased.
We're all over the place at the moment.
With happiness, and the waves are massive as well, so we've had a bit of a rough ride.
Yeah, they were seen off land at Duncansby Head, but they're really far out on the horizon. So we stuck to our plan, got on our ferry that we booked, got out, and they pretty much just gone right underneath the ferry. Yeah. So it was really good.
It couldn't have worked out any better.
Yeah, so happy.
So pleased. The 2 bulls, Ulfa from the 164 pod and Trinky from the 19s pod, are often seen travelling together between Iceland and Scotland and mixing with other pods like the 169s we saw them with in Fraserburgh. Very unstable. We made it. We're still absolutely buzzing from our experience yesterday, seeing the orca on the ferry. So the ferry that we went on was with John Groats ferries, and they do a return over to Orkney, and you don't get off, you just sit on there and look out for orca for the whole return journey.
Regardless whether the orca are there or not, they're still doing the journey.
Yeah.
So basically you're
route.
just hopping on just to see what you can find.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're not normally too keen on boat trips as such.
No.
But as it's a ferry, it's nice to get a different view of them without disturbing them.
And then they just went off on their way.
We carried on the ferry journey to Orkney, and they carried on their way to the west.
Yeah.
So,
just incredible.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was really good.
Yeah, if you've seen in any of our previous videos, we have had experiences of boats like completely hammering the orcas, and yeah, it's just not nice to see. It's not nice for the orcas, and you can tell it's just not like wildlife people doing it. It's just
yeah, exactly.
They've got doing it for the fun of it.
They've got no respect for the animals that they're trying to see as well, and it spoils it for everybody else who want to see them in the future. They'll stop going to places if they are hounded like that. So,
if people stick to the marine code of conduct, it's fine, but
it's better for everybody. We've come up to Noss Head. There were some risos apparently this morning a bit further up the coast, but it looks like they've beaten us to it and they're further down there now. But we thought we'd give it a try and explore Noss Head lighthouse and see what it's like.
The orca that we saw the other day on the ferry, Trinky and Ulfa, actually headed up from here. So went right past Noss Head when they were first reported. So they would have come right past here and then up the coast.
Hopefully the rest of the pod's following them, the 169s.
Yeah, there's a good chance that they're still heading up somewhere. Depends if they've come in close or not. It's a good location. Then Duncansby Head is just up there in the distance.
It's starting to rain. Typical Scottish weather.
So yet again, if it wasn't raining, this would be a really nice little coastal walk. So just as we was having a walk around Noss Head, typically there's been a report that there's orca off Orkney. So instead of trying to find these risos, I think we're going to head back up north.
Yeah.
And if we can, we might try and get onto the passenger ferry over to Orkney and back.
Yeah, if we can.
Just in case they're hanging around, and then we might catch them on the journey, but we'll see what happens.
We've got a bit of a walk back to the van first.
A very wet and soggy walk.
Foggy.
Having a bit of a run to get back to the van now to head back up north. It always seems to be whenever we leave somewhere, orca turn up. It's just typical.
Be careful with your lens. Unfortunately, we didn't catch up with the orca, but we did have another cool sighting. We've seen a minke whale. It's so exciting. It surfaced really close to the boat. Hopefully we managed to get a couple of photos and maybe a very, very small clip. Didn't pop up wherever. Yeah, we were so happy. It looked massive against the boat as well.
We got our shorts on again.
The legs are out.
Yeah, the weather's getting a bit nicer.
It's a lot nicer.
And we've just come off the ferry and we've just seen a minke whale really close.
Yeah, it was really close.
So no orcas, but it was really cool seeing the minke whale.
Yeah, it was a really good experience.
Yeah,
you could hear it.
You could hear it exhale.
Yeah.
It was so loud and it was quite a big one as well. I don't think we managed to get much footage, but we managed to get a couple of pictures.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's followed by some orca sighting.
We can only hope.
Yeah. We'd like at least one more orca sighting before we head back home.
Yeah.
So we're kind of just hanging on for that and then we'll feel happy leaving.
Yes.
Won't be long until we're going to Shetland.
We couldn't resist going for another walk across the stunning Bay of Sannoch. So we've got a few days left of our trip up to John Groats. We're really hoping we get another encounter. I don't know how hopeful we are, but we really hope that we will get another orca encounter. But at the moment we're at Orcangill, or Orcagill as we keep calling it.
I wish it was Orcagill.
Yeah. And some rhesos have been seen here, sort of for the past few mornings. Typically for us, we haven't seen any yet, but we're hoping that some pass through and we get to see them. It's like a nice
little place for otters as well.
It does. We've seen a seal so far. Hopefully something else pops up. So it's coming to the end of our trip to John Groats to try and find the orca. Overall, we have had 2 orca encounters. The first one was in Fraserburgh at the start of our trip, and then we had another encounter off the passenger ferry here in John Groats. And we also seen a minke whale as well.
Other than that, it's been quite quiet, but at least towards the end of the trip, as you can see now, it's so blue and it's actually quite warm as well. It is warm. It's in shorts and t-shirts.
We're in shorts and t-shirts.
So that's nice for a change up here.
Yeah, definitely.
Shame there's not been a few more orca, but at least we have seen them, which was really good.
Yeah, and we've made some lovely friends as well.
Yeah.
It's been lovely meeting up with people that we've been chatting to on Instagram, so it's finally nice to meet them in person.
Definitely.
So yeah, overall it's been a good trip. We're just really hoping we have one more orca encounter before we leave, but it might be a bit too hopeful.
I think so. They've not really been hanging around John Groats, they've just been over on Orkney. It's just like the same pod milling around.
Yeah.
So the only chance you've really had to see them is on the ferry.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it's been quite quiet up this end, which is a shame. But
which is a shame.
I'm sure as soon as we leave, they'll all turn up.
They will, yeah. It's always the case.
Yeah.
We made a last-minute decision to get a ferry over to Orkney, where a pod of orca had been regularly seen, we weren't disappointed, as we got to see an amazing pod of spy-hopping orca.
They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you can.
To follow our adventure, we would love it if you could give us a like and subscribe to our channel.
For what I love with every breath, my past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all.